going on, Detroit Lions fans? Detroit done 3-1-3. I broke Will before we came on. He can't get himself together, so I'll just start this intro off. Little inside joke that not everyone will get, or I would share with everyone. We're not keeping secrets here. But Will, what are we talking about today? If you could compose yourself and try to maintain your professionalism.
Listen. Today we're gonna be talking about wide receivers, man. Wide receivers. Apologies, man. Apologies. A couple people have gotten to the comments, and I got a couple messages on Facebook and Twitter like, hey, all you guys are talking about is defense. And we get it. We do need defense. But I think there's some pieces that we can add offensively. And I think Steve and I agree that there is some pieces that could be added. But Steve, this is trench warfare. This is freak athleticism for the defense season. But I would be excited to add a piece here or there, or bring a piece back to the receiving core. But you brought something to my attention before we get into it. You brought something to my attention about Carlton Davis. So lay it on the table, man, for the people if they haven't seen it.
He put out a cryptic tweet today. I don't know exactly what it means. I have no idea. It kind of came out late-ish in the day for you and I, so I'll do a screen share. This is what he was saying. This is what he tweeted out earlier. I won't make the same mistake twice. If you want your defense upgraded, y'all know who to pay. Turn on the tape. I saw this and I said, I don't know what the mistake is. I don't know what he thinks happened. I'm speculating here, but what do you think's going on with CD?
I honestly, until you showed me that, I wasn't even aware that he did a restructure deal with the Lions last year to get $14 million. So I don't know if the mistake was playing last season, going into the free agency this season without getting a deal done last season and restructuring for the Lions. I'm speculating. I don't know, because I know a lot of times you want to get that deal done before you're a free agent. You want to get that money. So I don't know if that's what he's saying was the mistake, but I worry about his durability. And let's not make it like the dude don't play at all. He plays most of the games, I'll say, but he never has played a full season. That worries me, especially with a guy getting older. So, Steve, would you be willing to pay more than $14 million a season for Carlton Davis over a 2-year, 3-year deal? Because I'm sure that's what he wants. He's 28 years old. You want to get, this is your last opportunity to get that multi-year deal. Would you be willing to pay $14 million a season or over for Carlton?
No, absolutely not. I think we got some guys who can replace him. But I did say in our last free agency show that Zeitler and Carlton Davis were my two pieces I'd like to bring back. And we'll talk about Timothy Patrick, I'm sure, later in the episode. But I said I think I'd be more comfortable with like a 2-year, $25 million. Like, hey, $12.5 million each. When you said he restructured his contract, you said that he turned $12 million of that into a signing bonus, and then he got paid like I think $2 million throughout the season. So he still got his money regardless, one way or another. Like, do you care if the check's coming from mom or grandma? Like, you just care about how much money's there, right? You ain't worried about who's writing the check or where it's coming from. So I don't know. I don't know if he's bitter towards something. I'm not trying to read too much into this, but I want Carlton Davis back, but I'm not going to break the bank for him, because I'll tell you, I saw that contract that Max Crosby got today, and I know Aiden Hutchinson is going to be somewhere in that ballpark. So we better start saving every penny we can, because Max Crosby got $35 million a year. So if you think Aiden Hutchinson's deal is going to be less than that, I think we're going to be like, hey, Hutch, like, listen, man, let's talk a hometown discount here. Like, can we get a friends and family service, like some type of discount? Because he's worth the 35, but I'm saying we don't have a lot of money to be thrown around toward other people and giving Carlton Davis a raise. So that's kind of why I pumped the brakes on Carlton, because I got to give Aiden $35 million here within the next 1 year. So hit the brakes on that, CD.
You got to give him $35 million in
$1. Yeah.
like that's where the conversation starts, man. It's scary, man. So I'm with you. Hopefully we can get something done. Carlton Davis is a guy that I would love to see back, but that I don't want to turn this into a defensive back show, man, because I know we're going to talk to these receivers, but there's other guys out there. Darius Slay. There's other guys out there. Chartavis Ward. So I mean, Carlton, I would like to see us get it done with you, man. But if we don't, man, there's some other guys. So,
in the draft, there's plenty of guys in the draft too.
Yep. Dead on. But meat and potatoes, Steve, what we doing?
Receivers. Listen, it's been kind of a weird timing for receivers. There's people requesting trades. There's people getting released that we didn't really know were for sure going to get released. There's Cooper Kupp out there. Davante Adams is out there.
Yep.
DK Metcalf is out there now. Do you think that the Detroit Lions should go after one of these big name receivers?
Listen, I'm just gonna go right through them. So for me, I think about DK Metcalf. He's a freak, man. 6'4". I can't even remember what his 40 time was. I think it was about 4.3
Fast.
or
If
something.
you blinked, you missed it.
Yeah, just big, strong, physical guy, man. But he doesn't wow me in his route running, or he doesn't dominate a football game. So when I think about DK Metcalf in 2025 season, he's going to be getting 18 million. And then after that, he's a free agent. So you either got to sign him and extend him, right? Or you get him on an $18 million rental and then just let him walk, but you traded a piece away to bring him in. That wouldn't really make sense to me. So for DK, for me, it would be a no, because I would rather pay and keep J-Mo, because I feel like J-Mo offers more big playability than DK Metcalf consistently. So I can't, you're not going to keep all three of them and pay them all, 20 million plus, man. It's just not going to happen. So DK would be a no for me. How you feel about it?
Absolutely zero interest. And I do mean zero interest. Why would I trade for a receiver that's going to come to my team and be the sixth option to get the ball to? That just in itself doesn't make sense. Like I got to feature Jahmyr Gibbs as my number one running back. I got to give David Montgomery some carries. I just paid Amon-Ra St. Brown $25 million a year. He's going to want some touches. Sam Laporta's got a rookie contract that's coming up in the next couple of years. He's going to want some touches. Jamison Williams is going to want some touches. There's just not enough footballs to go around for a player like him. He's a true number one receiver. If you come to Detroit, you're wide receiver 3 at best. But if we start getting into those running back options, you're probably like 5 or 6. So I don't think that would mesh well with the chemistry. And I'm not saying he's a diva, but we've played the Seattle Seahawks like the last 3 seasons. And I've personally seen him go on the sidelines and throw a little hissy fit when things don't go his way. And I've seen him do it in some other games. That's just not a Detroit Lions type of player that I want on my team. So I'm definitely not trading for him. I'm definitely not paying him. And I'm definitely not risking him leaving after a year and coming to my team and throwing a fit because he doesn't get 8 touches a game. Like there's just not touches out there for him. So I'm not interested.
Same, man. I'm with you, man. So guys, leave it in the comments, man. DK Metcalf, not interested. Are we crazy? Are we nuts? You already know what to do. Let me just march down the list, Steve, since we're doing it, man. I got another one. And this one I feel like got brought up a while ago towards the end of the regular season when he was getting on video and just letting people know that I got to get out of here, man. I got to get out of here, man. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill has said, listen, the thought of playing with Jared Goff, man, coming to Detroit, I like what's going on out there. You got any interest in Tyreek Hill?
Didn't he recant that statement though and say that like he said that out of emotion? I thought he came back and did like an interview and he said that he regretted saying that. Like it was right after they got their season ended and but reporters were in his face and he was just like, yeah, man, I got to get up out of here. Like I thought he recanted that and kind of came back and said, maybe I shouldn't have said that. So I don't know. But if we're playing the game, would I want Tyreek Hill? No. This one's a little tougher. It is a little tougher because his skill set is something that I think fits the Detroit Lions. Just a guy you can get a football to in any type of way. If it's running the ball, bubble screens, like he's a problem. But it's the same thing. Like, is he okay with only touching the ball a handful of times? Is he okay with, where he goes 3 games in a row and he only gets 4 touches or something like that? Like, I don't know. It really just depends. Because after he left Kansas City, he really hasn't done much. He got his paycheck. He put up some stats. He was in the MVP talks. That's great. But you left and we're talking shit about Patrick Mahomes saying that Tua Tagovailoa had a better arm. So kind of throwing a little shade. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's the type of guy I want on the team. Where he's at in his career, I know that was a couple years ago. Do you want to win? Do you want to prove that maybe you are a reason that a team can win a Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes? It's interesting. I'd be more interested in him than DK Metcalf, but I think he's kind of flirting with that same category. What do you think?
Yeah, so I will say he tweeted out today, man. I guess everybody wants to leave
Yeah.
after
Cryptic
DK.
tweet day. Very, very cryptic tweet day.
Yeah, so uh I don't want anything to do with him, to be honest, man. He's not what I'm looking for from a personality standpoint to fit the Detroit Lions. Uh all of the drama, I just feel like we need guys, if we get into adversity, they're going to be willing to press on, man, and get closer together rather than tear each other apart. So I just don't think he would fit with the Detroit Lions. And on top of that, he's 31 years old and 5'4". So that doesn't really mesh well. Father Time is undefeated at some point, and I think there's already been glimpses of him slowing down a little bit, but at some point that speed is going to leave him. He's set to get paid. I don't know. Ooh, yeah, he's set to get paid. 2025 isn't that bad. It's 10 million in 2025, but in 2026, 29 million.
Yeah,
Listen, a lot of money.
We just had a conversation about Aiden Hutchinson's contract coming up.
Yeah.
29 million, 10 million sounds real good. Like I'll pull the trigger on that right now, but when it triples the next season, that's a no-go for me.
Yeah, that's lots of monies, man. That's lots of money. So, I got another one, Steve, and this one to me is kind of interesting. Leaving a team in the division, none other than Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen. You got any interest in Keenan Allen? Sitting at 32 years old.
I do. I kind of do have a little interest in Keenan Allen. It really comes down to price. Listen, Keenan Allen's been one of the best receivers in the NFL since he got drafted. Wasted a lot of time out there with the Chargers, staying loyal. Phillip Rivers, him couldn't get it done. Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson, like they just couldn't get it done out there. I don't think he's a diva. I think he's okay with being that third wide receiver because we just saw him kind of being that in Chicago. So I don't think his role would change because out in Chicago, they got DJ Moore. He's their top dog. They got the young rookie last year in Roma Dunze. So Keenan Allen was kind of that number 3. So if he's coming to Detroit, same role. I wouldn't expect any drama. Great hands. We played him when he was with the Chargers a couple years ago, and he absolutely dominated a game we were lucky to win. He had like 180 receiving yards or something like that, 3 touchdowns. So he's not that far removed. I don't think he's putting up those kind of numbers anymore, but I think out of all the players we're going to talk today, Keenan Allen would be a good fit, the right price, productive, a role player. I'd be all for some Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I'm on the fence, man, to be honest. I just don't know if we have the money to pay him and still take care of all of our guys. Like we've just been continuously mentioning Sam Laporta, Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph's about to get a bag, hopefully. Still got to sign a corner, whoever that may be, if it's not Carlton Davis. I just feel like I don't know if that we have the money to spend on essentially what's an extra weapon for Jared Goff. He's already got 2 phenomenal running backs. He's already got a really good tight end. He's already got a phenomenal receiver with a great weapon added on in J-Mo to go with it. I'm just like, man, do we have the money to be able to invest in somebody that's 32 years old? You don't know exactly what you're going to get from him. He has also spent some time in the tub and not out there on the field, man. So I don't know. Keenan Allen, if we signed him to a 1-year deal, I would be okay with it. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Always loved his game, but it's just that price, man, that I worry about.
His salary last year in Chicago, his 2024 was 18 million. So I'm not giving him 18. What would be your bottom line? Your bottom dollar you'd give him?
I don't know, man. Probably like, I don't want to disrespect him.
Hey,
I'm looking.
Come on, Brad Holmes, side my player here. What do you got? Well, how much money you got? You got 55 million in cap space.
I would just say that I would probably. It's just not going to work out for us. I'm not interested because he's not getting 18, and I do see, players as they get up in age, they understand what it is, man. So it's a matter of, do I want to go get a bag from a non-contender, or do I want to take a couple million less and go play with a contender that could go after a Super Bowl? But we're not even close, man, because I want somebody $10 million or less is really where I'm at.
Yeah, there's some guys in the draft that I'm really interested in, but out of all the names we've discussed so far, probably Keenan Allen's the best fit. I know we got some other guys that we're going to get into here. So who you got next?
So This is a guy that would have to get traded for, and his name has popped up quite a bit. I won't even, without further ado, triple crowner, or ex triple crowner, Cooper Kupp, man. Cooper Kupp, Sean McVay has said he's open to go out and find a trade. Are you interested in Cooper Kupp as you watch these guys go? What is Deebo Samuel went for a 5th rounder? Like, would you be interested in getting Cooper Kupp in the building for a 5th rounder or a 6th rounder, setting the table so you have it? In 2025, Cooper Kupp is supposed to get 12.5 million, and in 2026, he's supposed to get 14.5 million. 31 years old. Cooper Kupp, are you interested?
5th round pick. He ain't no Deebo Samuel. All right. He had his good year when they won the Super Bowl, but let's not get confused here. Deebo Samuel does special things. All right. He could play running back, receiver, punt returner, kick returner, quarterback, tight end. Like Deebo Samuel can do a lot of different things. Cooper Kupp is just playing wide receiver. Okay. So I give you a 6th round pick. And I'll take that contract on because I think those numbers are fair. I think they got a little chemistry already with Jared Goff. Now, I've said this before. Let's not act like Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp were setting records and setting the league on fire when they were both out in LA, like with all those stats. So I think a lot of people forget that. All right. When Matthew Stafford went there, Cooper Kupp had the best season he's ever had, will ever have, one of the greatest in history, ended with a Super Bowl. I think did he win Super Bowl MVP? I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. But 14 million, 12 million, a 6th round pick. I'm okay with it, but I'll just tell you, like, I think the Detroit Lions are better off just keeping Timothy Patrick and drafting a young wide receiver somewhere in those middle rounds. So, I mean, yeah, we're going to talk all these big names, but just re-sign Timothy Patrick. If you really want to add a wide receiver that you can get on a football field, look at round maybe 3. Not my draft, but Brad Holmes is one in charge. Maybe round 3, round 4, go get a kid. I really like the kid out of Illinois, Pat Bryant. I think that's his name. I'm drawing blanks on names. I would go get him. I can at least get him in a football game. He doesn't have to be the starter. If Tim Patrick needs a break, we can bring him in. So that's the route I would rather go. But the Cooper Kupp contract is team friendly. 14 million is not crazy. And we could only give up a 6 because if they're asking for a pick above and better than what Deebo Samuel got, kick rocks. Let's hang up that phone. Get out of town.
Yeah. I watched Sean McVay get interviewed on the Pat McAfee show. And first things first, I'm a little confused at why he wasn't on Detroit in 313. But
Sean McVay, he'd never be welcome here.
Yeah. Oh, he'd be welcome here. I would love to talk to Sean McVay. I'd love to talk to him about thanking him for letting us get Jared Goff and being an idiot. But anyway.
And kind of we kind of got Aiden Hutchinson out of that because we don't get that number 2 pick with Matthew Stafford because he would have won a couple more games.
Facts, 100%, man. So but that said, I felt like he alluded to the fact that Cooper Kupp has lost a step because he said, when asked about Cooper Kupp, he said he was so thankful to Cooper Kupp for his time with the Rams, and he's a phenomenal player and a phenomenal talent, but he's sat down and had a conversation with him, an honest conversation, and sometimes he's wrong, is what he said. He's been wrong before. So that made me believe that he sat down and had a conversation and said, hey, man, where you're at in your career and what I'm seeing isn't the old Triple Crown Cooper Kupp. It's time for us to move on and part ways. So if that's the case, I don't know that I want Cooper Kupp on this last leg. He's spent a lot of time injured in the past couple of seasons, coming into Detroit and having to pay him, what was it, 12.5 and 14.5 million. No, thank you. But staying on this same theme, there is a guy that I do want to bring to Detroit that is very familiar with the division, and I don't know that you're in on it. And guys, tell me if I'm crazy in the comments, because I want none other than the Davante Adams. Now, here's why I want Davante Adams, because Davante Adams is 32 years old. I think he had like a $49 million contract or something crazy, but he got released. So now the floor is open. I want to sign Davante Adams to a 1-year deal, right? And bring him in to obviously a contender, as I watched Davante Adams, I watched some film on him. He's not the same Davante Adams that was in Green Bay. Not the same dude. But what he is a guy who can still get open. And I don't need him to be the old Davante Adams. I need him to be a guy that can get open when we need him to get open. In a goal line situation, I don't got to worry about him getting jammed because he's probably still one of, if not the release off the line of scrimmage king in football. Goal line situation, man, I need him to get open and get a touchdown for us, or just keep the defense honest and hold a linebacker to get up under that slant or hold a safety, right, to help out over the top so we can run the football. I love the idea of negotiating a fair 1-year deal with Davante Adams to come to the Detroit Lions and go after a Super Bowl. Under those circumstances, Steve, how do you feel about Davante?
It really just depends on comfortability in your role. All right. I've said it with every guy we've talked about today. You have to be comfortable coming here and being a third, fourth, or maybe even fifth option, because we're going to feature our running backs. We're going to rely on our offensive line. You guys can, I'm not turning this into a Jared Goff episode, but the more we can take the ball out of his hands and get production from the run game is probably for the best. And then if we have to pass it, we have some good weapons out there. We have a tight end. We have 2 wide receivers. We have a reliable number 3 in Timothy Patrick. So you have to come in here and be understanding that where you are in your career, you're not Davante Adams from 8 years ago when you were dominating in Green Bay. If you're ring chasing and you're trying to help a team win and you're comfortable and you understand that you're not the feature guy, because I saw the frustration. If you probably watched that Netflix series, Wide Receiver. Like, I get it. You're out there in Vegas and they don't have a quarterback. It's frustrating. You're going out there running these routes, running as hard as you can, and you have very, very bad quarterback play. This season, you kind of get thrown a bone. Hey, reunite with Aaron Rodgers. That obviously blew up and didn't work out. So I think it'd be a good fit for him here if he understands exactly what he's going to be doing, because I don't see him as a diva. I don't see him as kind of like a DK Metcalf. Like, I don't think anything like that, but he showed some frustration in that Netflix series. So it happens when you're not getting the ball, you're the feature guy. That's what it's going to come down to for me is he okay with the role of not being the guy anymore? Because he's not. And I don't know what it is. What is it with all these like top receivers that leave their team in their prime and they go to the Vegas Raiders and they just kind of fall off? Like Randy Moss did it. Davante Adams, like, guys, stop leaving your team and going to Vegas. They kill wide receivers for some reason. So I don't know. Bad career choice. I know he wanted to play with Derek Carr, his college quarterback, and that only lasted for like 1 year or something like that. But it'd be an instant upgrade with Jared Goff. He just has to be comfortable in his role of what he's going to be with the Lions.
Yeah, I just look at it as a huge upgrade to Timothy Patrick.
Huge.
And Timothy Patrick was having success. Right? So, but I agree with you, Steve. He has to be okay with his role, and I think he will be, because I watched a little. It wasn't on receiver, but it was something else, like a little behind access while he was with the Raiders, and him just talking about, I want to win. Like, I don't care if I get 10 receptions or 0 receptions if we're winning, but don't have me getting 0 receptions and we're getting blasted. That's crazy.
I think he said that after we played the Raiders a couple years ago, and he got like 1 catch and kept getting overthrown. I think he said something about that then, that he was ready to win, and that's when the trade rumors started coming.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the bottom line. You come out here, man, you're gonna win some football games. You're gonna be able to chase a Super Bowl. So it makes sense to me. I can't, with his age, I don't want to see a multi-year deal. I wouldn't be super upset with like a 2-year deal. That wouldn't bother me because of his pedigree. But anything more than that to me would be crazy. And it can't be crazy money either. It's got to be a chase a championship friendly deal, because I know I got to sign other guys. So if he's down with that, I'm down to have him. As we went through this list of free agents that are these veteran, big name guys, that's the only one that I would truly like to see in Detroit. Respect Cooper Kupp's resume, but I don't believe he's the same Cooper Kupp. And especially after his coach has said what he said about it, I got to respect that. But I got 2 more guys on this list that are not big name guys. They're not upper echelon guys. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on them, but I will say them. Josh Palmer, who's a guy that I feel like is just productive, underrated, similar to a Tim Patrick in a sense of like he's always the number 3 receiver. He's always or number 4. He's a guy that just produced you about between like 500 and 700 yards receiving. He makes plays here and there, but he's never going to be your featured guy. I think if you're going to bring a guy in to play X, that's going to be, I don't even know who you would call, because we got Batman and Robin. He's the extra guy. You know what I mean? So we're going to have Waymo, right? And Amon St. Brown are the top dogs there. Right. And then everybody else is supporting cast. I think Josh Palmer is a guy that will understand that he would be a supporting cast guy. He's got the big body. He's got the catch radius, 6'1", I think 210 pounds, big receiver, physical, blocks in the run game, which you know our theme in Detroit, no block, no rock. I think he would fit right in. Team or book friendly contract. His value is worth $4.3 million a year. So you sign him to a 2-year deal, pay him like $9 million. No problem. Steve, would you be interested in Josh Palmer?
I don't think he's an upgrade from Timothy Patrick. I know he's younger, but Timothy Patrick is 6'5". So, I mean, if that makes a little bit of a difference, and I think Tim Patrick started playing good football toward the end of the season. I think it took him a little bit to get going, coming off of missing 2 seasons. Palmer's okay. Like if Timothy Patrick walks, yeah, I'm good with bringing in with Josh Palmer being 25 years old, 6'1", but I think we're kind of splitting hairs when it comes to the production, because you're pretty much getting the same thing. So it's really just, I guess, is age really a factor, or is being 6'5" more of a factor? Like, I don't know. What does Brad want? Does he want that big, tall guy, or does he want the guy who can get out there and do the same thing, but he's not as big, but he's a little younger? Like, I don't know. I think we're comparing apples and oranges when we talk about the two guys. So I'm good with either one, but I don't need Josh Palmer and Timothy Patrick.
No.
So I think if it were up to me, I'd probably just keep Tim Patrick for the sanctity of already having a little familiarity with the offense. That's probably the only difference, and being 6'5". Like, you can't teach size. It's hard to be 6'5" in the NFL. So I know I don't even think we used Tim Patrick the right way. Not once did I see a goal line fade to him all last season. Just throw one or two. Just keep some teams honest. I'm not saying make it like a feature point in your offense when you get inside the 10, but 6'5" wide receivers are hard to find.
Yeah, I haven't seen him over his career, man, and that's, I'm gonna get into that in a second. But just be that guy that goes up in high points football. So a lot of time I see him jumping up and like still cradling the ball. I don't see him like going in and mossing guys. I don't know if that's just not in his game or what the case is with that. But when I think about him, I think about immediately his durability. Now, he stayed on the field last year, but historically he's been a guy who has not stayed on the field. So do we want to continue to poke that bear and play that game, or do we want to be, okay, man, glad you had a good run, we're happy for you, we're going to let you walk and go do your thing? Or I got nothing against Tim Patrick, though. I am cheering for him. I do like him. But when I think about Josh Palmer, I see a playmaker. I see a guy who is on the field for the most part. He rarely misses football games. I think he's a guy that's, he's playing either all the games or, 15 games over his career. So, he's going to be healthy and available. 25 years old, so you could potentially sign him for a cheaper deal, but you could get maybe 2-3 years and notice you got your third receiver for the next 2-3 years. I like that. I'd definitely be interested in him, man. Like I said, nothing more than like a 2 to 3 year deal. And then he's 28 years old. At the end of it, you solidified pretty much your receivers for a while. Just makes sense to me. But either way it goes, I do agree with the fact that you are splitting hairs. It's not like if we got him, it would be some crazy, huge upgrade from Tim Patrick. So
I don't think he moves the needle.
No. One last guy for you, Steve. Elijah Moore. Are you interested in Elijah Moore?
I'm going to say the same thing I said about Josh Palmer. He's younger, he's 24, and he's shorter. So, I mean, the hairs, I guess, are a little bit bigger to be split, but you're getting the same production from a smaller guy who's younger and probably got more years ahead of him. But I don't know. Again, same. You could have said these guys together. My opinion is exactly the same. Timothy Patrick leaves, call one of these two, bring him in. You're not going to miss much in production. It's going to be pretty damn close to the same. Like these aren't that we're not talking 1,000-yard receivers here. We're not talking guys who are probably going to make the Pro Bowl. We're talking a guy to come in, be a diversion at best, block some people in the running game, catch a third down pass here or there. Maybe you slip open and bust for a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested, but like William, I don't think he's a needle mover for me either. Like our offense doesn't need much. We just need consistency, some smarter decisions, and a better defense to help out our offense. So I'm really not interested in receivers at all, honestly. Like it's fun to talk about. It's fun to think. I think out of the guys we talked about today, I would say Davante Adams and then Keenan Allen would probably be the two I'd be most interested in.
I'm with you with Davante Adams. When it comes to Elijah Moore, Steve, are you nuts? Are you nuts? Listen, Elijah Moore is a 4-3 guy who gets open. He has been, in my opinion, a victim to trash quarterback play. Just absolute
that's gonna be my
trash. Yeah, trash quarterback play. This is a guy who was a first-round pick, and don't fact check me, people. I already know he went round.
You're gonna disrespect the Bill Funner and the hand job homie out there in Cleveland, and you're gonna
yeah, just completely crazy. Like this man is a first-round draft pick caliber guy. Like I said, 4-3. He gets open down the field. He gets open. Period. This is a tough, gritty guy. Not afraid to go over the middle. And when I look at our roster, Khalif Raymond is a guy that I'm immediately going to comp him to because of their size and Elijah's more ability to catch screen passes, to do reverses, jet sweeps. But I think he has a little bit more ability as a receiver getting downfield. Right. So when I think about our situation, Khalif Raymond is 30 years old. He's on the last year of his contract. He'll be an unrestricted free agent after next season. Why not get a guy in camp? Cheat his market value right now because hasn't had crazy production. He's like 500-600 yards a season, but with, like we said, just absolute trash quarterback play. He's still producing a little bit. But if you look at the games and him, he's winning his routes. He's getting open. It's an absolute sin that this guy's not getting the football, in my opinion. Elijah Moore is somebody that I want, and I want him in Detroit bad.
I want him. Is he your top guy we've talked about
today? No, Davante Adams would be my top guy for the right money, but he'd be number 2 for me because I think that it's so much of a reward there and so little risk. So if I sign you, you're 25 years old. I sign you to a 2-year prove-it deal. I get you on the books for $4 million a season, $8 million total. Who cares, man? You're going to be at a minimum who you have been. But I think you're going to be way better with Jared Goff. Because if you get open, Jared Goff's going to put that ball on you accurately and give you some space to go run and make plays. You mix him in with Amon-Ra St. Brown's mindset and work ethic, because Elijah Moore is not a guy that's afraid to work. He will get in here and work. Khalif Raymond loves to work. Get him in that mindset, get him in that flow, get him in that culture. Elijah Moore is a no-brainer for me. Get him to Detroit right now. If we end up moving on for Khalif Raymond, you got Khalif Raymond's younger replacement. No worries at all. Like I said, he's a 4-3 guy. He's a 1.5 10-yard guy. The dude is sudden. He stops on a dime. He gets open. I think Jared would love him, some Elijah Moore. And there's potentially a world where you could get Davante Adams on a 1-year deal and probably still have $4 million for Elijah Moore.
I like the fact that he could probably return kicks, but I really listen. We're not going to go special teams, but you know my feelings and my fears when it comes to returning kicks. All right, like it's something that I really, really respect, and I think Khalif Raymond's the best at it. So I love him being back there. If Elijah could do that and make me feel comfortable, that's another aspect of his game he could do. I'm all for it. And you're right. Listen, poor quarterback play will kill a wide receiver. All right, it will absolutely kill a wide receiver. But if you're not going to give a little respect to Deshaun Watson, my hand job homie out there, just, getting toweled. Okay. Like, just, let's not pretend Deshaun Watson didn't have a little bit of something. Okay. Now I know he wasn't the same guy from Houston, but You know, when you're getting pumped that much, you know, you're not the same guy. Will, you're just not. All right.
He was
dehydrated. Yeah, he probably just had a lot of built up tension that he couldn't find to get released. So maybe that's a factor. But Zach Wilson, yeah, like those were his two quarterbacks, and then you could probably sprinkle in the crab leg king, Jameis Winston. Like, yeah, bad quarterback play. So he's still young. Not a lot of tread on the tires. Might be worth. I wouldn't even call it a gamble because if you worst case scenario, cut him his check for $2 million and tell him see you later. Thanks for showing up to camp and playing a couple games. So I would say that would be a medium reward with low risk. So I'm okay with it. Just I don't know. Our offense doesn't need a lot of work. Will, you know me?
I get it, but I look at it like, man, we're trading for guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah.
Like in a world where we're doing stuff like that, go get me an Elijah Moore. Like I'd much rather have that than we're bringing in, you know, these type of guys, man. So I don't know. You got if I'm choosing, man, for me, it's Davante Adams, Elijah Moore on deck. You know, Khalif Raymond's going to be the guy going into the next season that's going to play that wide receiver 3 slot guy, scat back guy role. But hey, going into the following season, you got a guy that's already knows the system, already has a little bit of a rapport with Jared Goff, 5 years younger. I think it just makes sense, man.
Yeah, it don't hurt. Pennies on the dollar, cheap deal, boomer bust. No harm, no foul. So yeah, I'm okay with that aspect. But anything else for tonight?
No, that's it, man. Steve, Wednesday.
What's
Few more sleeps, man. That's when free agency starts.
It's next Wednesday. Yeah, next week.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm excited for free agency because it's going to lay a path for the draft. All right, we'll start seeing exactly what we need. Do we need to go out and address the corner position in the draft? If Carlton Davis leaves, are we not re-signing Timothy Patrick? Do we need to scoop up another receiver somewhere, either in free agency or the draft? Kevin Zeitler is another name. So we got to start seeing who Brad Holmes signs. We'll start getting some hints. I think on Monday you can start offering contracts, but they can't sign until Wednesday or something like that. There's a tampering period or whatever it's called. But yeah, next week's going to be very interesting.
Can't wait.
Stick around, hit that like button, get us to 10K. We'll be back with another episode.
Peace.